want to stay or you want to continue. You just need to what make sure you have the best decision to make. We said a whole lot of things though, but probably you could share with us your own experience probably at the end of the session because we are far behind. So we move to what we have for today. Okay. So guys, I want to probably let's try to reflect on the project so far, and let's see some things. Okay. Actually, I have the slide here for pointers. Okay, but I really want us to there are some points of views regarding this project and this program itself that I want us to look into. Firstly, to be honest, there are some aspects of this program that when you get to project, you are given a project, you might not you will really know, you could get confused first, okay, on what to do and how to do it, because at some point you could feel like every of the information or details given here, they are like skeletal, not the full form of what you need to do. At some point they won't give you the full details of this is how you need to do this thing. Probably you have to create an header file, or probably you have to do this or to do that. They keep you in the loop for you to figure out what you need to do. So for example, let's look at this project now. This project is about functions. Okay, functions and then loops, nested loops. Before this project, there was the first project. I think that's hello world. And one thing you need to understand about this how to attempt all of this project and how to keep going is that you need to know that every bit of the information or every bit of the project is an integration of another. So in that sense, every detail is what is actually important. So you need to make sure that you at least pay attention to every detail. Aside some points whereby you have to go logical, you have to into your reasoning and try to figure out some things by yourself. Now if we look at this project here, probably this one is variables and if else. If you look at this project here, it all started from this side, a program that assign a random number to a variable. And I will always say some things that when you are doing this project, you should always pay attention to. In fact, from the top to the bottom, aside the fact that, of course, you need to read the resources, the aspect of the general requirements is very, very important because there are some things here that will actually be or obviously be the guide of what you need to do in the project itself. Okay, so when you are able to at least grab some understanding about these general requirements of what is expected of you, because every project here, okay, is actually built on the general requirement and the general expectation of what you should have been able to know, okay, as soon as you finish the project or as soon as you start getting into the project. So they felt like, okay, at the end of this project or at the end of you reading the resources above and attempting the project, you should have been able to understand the concept of arithmetic operators and how to use them, the concept of true or false in C, the concept of operators, Boolean operators, and all that. Okay. Now, to be honest, the only aspect of this program that I feel that it might be a bit somehow skeptical and somehow hard for someone to just quickly take in at some point is probably those that are actually very, very far or completely new to programming, that are completely new. And if those ones actually stay on their own to learn this thing, they will have issues because it is a new environment totally that they they don't know anything about. So part of the way is that they actually have to reach out and then go even into discussion. Their curiosity will be one of the driving factors for them to get answers. At some point, they need to try a lot of things, even in the compiler, after even understanding the basic structure of the C program. They have to try a lot of things and then try to see if this thing will work, or if not, it will not work. So from the point that they really have something to achieve, they really have something to um they have something that they an output that they want to get, something that they want to do, but they are not getting it. At that point, probably they want to print out something in a particular format, but they are not getting it. It is that curiosity that will lead them to what? Make out research. And it's from that curiosity that will make them to what? See some peers that will explain some bits of knowledge to them. And it's from that curiosity that will make them what? Jot down some vital points. And then even they could be the fastest learner to even those who are actually in the system already. Curiosity is one of the things. So curiosity is one of the things that will really help you to really move aside. If you really want to be truthful to yourself, that you are not just doing this thing just for doing sake, just to pass. So that is the aspect of what they are. At some point that they want us to, they will leave you to figure out some things on your own. The point of curiosity. Okay, so the general requirements, all these things are what are necessary, because they are they will be like the guide. Okay, they will be like the guide for what you are going to learn, and then understanding how these things will work. Now, this project is could be as simple as we want to talk about it, but if you look at this project from the top here, as I'm talking about the very first one, where you have to write a program that what that determines if a particular number is positive or negative. From that point, the concept that you are able to grab from this point here, for me, this is how I do my thing. If I do a project, okay, I am after the at the end of the at the end of the project, I am able to what I will try to analyze myself and analyze that project or that task, and see what concepts did they really emphasize here that I need to what really know, and I'm able to what know. From this point here, the concept here you could understand is that we are able to use if else statement to make decision. Okay, that is, it is by the decision or by the result from the if else statement that you are able to what you are able to decide what to print regarding this project here. And also I'm able to what I will also analyze my logic. I'm able to get the logic aspect of it, that for me to be able to differentiate between a positive and a negative, there is a differentiator, probably a center point, that is when the number is above zero it is positive, when it's below it is what negative. So at that point I'm able to understand that okay, there's a point of greater than and less than, and that is where arithmetic operator comes in also. Okay, these things, those arithmetic operator, they are able to what, with the combination of if else statement, I am able to get some things. I'm able to make decision. Now, if you go forth, the same thing is built upon each of them, like that. And the only aspect where this thing now becomes what tricky is the aspect of when you now what come into loop, where you are asked to print lowercase from A to Z, when you're asked to do print lowercase or uppercase at the same time. So these things is just that you need to know, okay, I'm able to get concept of decision making, able to get concept of repetition or iteration. I'm able to understand. So even if you don't get 100% of that at the first place, understanding that one concept has been established, and now trying to build up yourself on that concept and trying to see possibilities is one assignment you take from yourself for yourself. Okay, the only another aspect is the aspect of this side where you have to do combination of printing, combination of digits. Look at this side here. Aside this program, this project here, you are asked to print numbers from 0 to 9, single digit. But there are some tricky things that happen here. It says that you are asked to use only Putchar. Admin is a normal printf statement. You can just print it directly and it will work without you trying to format something different. But this aspect here, the function you are using to print out to the standard output is a function that can only perform an action one at a time, such that when you are actually looking at the output, you will need to now think logically and try to see how can I get this format. So another thing that I have been able to build up is what I will call something that everyone should take in as another trick is that, or as another skill, when you're actually trying to solve a problem, you need to understand the output first. It is from the output that you start writing out, drafting out the tools you need to create the logic to this endpoint. So on a normal day, you know that when you use putchar, you can use it to print a single zero. So therefore, if I write a loop that is printing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, initially I know that loop actually what perform operation repeatedly, one, such that if it's printing something, if it's going to print 0 to 9, I need to understand that firstly to print it's an if it's going to print 0 to 9, I understand the function of compiler that it runs its code from top to bottom and then from left to right. So if the very first instruction I give to the computer is print print 0, let's say this print 0, computer will run that. And after that, before it, even if it is a loop, before it will repeat again, it will have to go to line 11 and see if there is something to execute. Of course, before what, it will now go back again to the start and then do what it has to do. So if I say print 0, it will print 0. Of course, I want a format of 0 comma space 1 comma space 2 comma space 3 comma space 4 comma space 5, like that up to 9. And I would say at the last point of 9, you should not put any space or comma, because if I leave it that way, that means I could have something like 9 command space, and when it gets to 9, of course the loop will exit. So what are we trying to say is that normally the compiler will print from top to bottom, left to right. After it has compiler will run from top to bottom, left to right. After it has done this first print, of course logically based on the format I want, I can say print comma, it will do that, and I can still say print spa- space. It will still do this. So these are like the things it should do. Okay, let me say this one, print number. So these are the things it will do repeatedly, unless there is now what, unless there is now a an instruction of where it was, of
Hello,
where
Mike.
it will stop.
Sorry, Mike. I think
Yeah.
Sheriff's hand is on. Maybe he has a point he wants to raise. Can you look to that shortly?
Okay. Sorry. I never knew it was the sound was coming from here. Okay. Okay, Sheriff, you can come in. Sorry.
Going to say, the comma, I don't think the comma is part of the output actually. I think the the code was piped into cat E or something, so that gave it the comma. Do you?
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
No, the comma is part of the formatting for what it will print. The comma is part of it. The aspect of the cat E, let's call there, where is it? This aspect of this cat E is actually to it will this cat E is an extend option for the cat operator in shell that will always print a dollar sign at the end of an execution or command. Okay, so let me use a simple use case. I think that happened inside this one. Look at this project here. This guy, this one is to print diagonal, and at the end of every diagonal is where you see the dollar sign at the try to tell you if something is before it, or try to tell you if something is is not before it. So this cat e is actually like the end. That's a short form for the end. Okay, so if you look at this output here, the only dollars this dollar sign comes only at the end of the output,
Oh,
because yes. Okay,
okay.
did you get it?
Yeah. Noted. Yeah,
Okay,
understood.
yeah, we are going to actually do this project. Just do this one, and then we'll go to pointer. I just really want us to quickly get overview of pointer, let the knowledge sink in just quickly, then we'll try to see some tricky things in the project. Majorly today is actually reflecting on especially the function aspect, where I feel some persons looks confused in some of the things that happened. Okay, then before we go to the more function aspect, even the more function aspect, this one is kind of even more simpler than the very first aspect of the fun, of function that was released. Okay, so this output here is a format that you need to specify to give yourself. So as we are saying here, when you print, the loop will run, it will execute what is here first, then execute the next thing, execute the next one, and then it will come back again. That is when we have two, and then it will do comma and then space. It will repeat again. We will have three, of which we know that the repetition is based on the condition. Let me write this code first, and let's really make this practical. So let's say a code to print numbers from 0 to 9 in this format. So 0 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma space, okay, space comma space 5 up to 9. When it gets to 9, we will see what is going to happen. So I'm going to use a while loop. Okay, so I'm going to use a while loop. Okay, and I'm going to be using putchar too, as it is. We are going to use putchar. We see the difference. I will use printf. Okay, now I will now say I'll create, let my variable int I equals 0. Then I will say while condition I is less than or equal to 9. Okay, and I will say should do what? It should put car I, but I have to convert it to ASCII because this is integer. So I will have to say plus 48 or plus 0. Okay, 48 is the decimal value of the character 0, or the number value of the character 0. So I can choose either of the two, but I want to use 48. So I say it should what? Print 48, of which it what? Print I, convert it to ASCII, it will print 0. Then I say I want to put what? The comma. Before that, let's print this and see. If I run this guy, sorry, I have to increment, of course. If not, it will just continue printing um, 0, 0, 0, 0 without trying to update the counter, and then what? we check the condition again, and then at the updated value of the counter, if I was 0 in the first place, it will do this guy here, and then it will update and I will become 1, and then it will check the condition, is it true or false. If it is true, it will enter again, and at that position that I is 1, it will print it here. Okay, and then it will what, it will update again, I will become 2. Okay, then it's what, come back again and check the condition. If it is true, is 2 less than or equals to 9, it is true. It will come back, and at the position of 2, when I is 2, it will what, print 2. Then it will what, come back again and update 2 by adding 1 to it, and 2 becomes 3. I mean I becomes 3. At that point, it check if I, which is 3, is 3 less than or equals to 9. Then it's what, it will be true. And at that point, it will come in here and print the position, like so, until what, when I now becomes 9. Yes, 9 is less than or equals to 9. 9 is not less than 9, but it is equal to 9. So you could see that the pronunciation of this guy is less than or, and that or comes from the what, the or operator, the or logical operator, which says that one of the condition must be satisfied. If that, which say that if one of the condition is true, then you can continue operating. Okay, so that is why it was able to now print it, to see that now 9 is equal to 9, and yes, it's what, come here and print 9 at that position. When it updates here and I becomes 10, it will now what, check if 10 is less than or equal to 9. 10 is not less than 9, neither if 10 is equal to 9, and that is when this guy will what, fly out of the loop and exit it and comes here. Okay, that is just a quickly crash course on loop. Now if we run this guy, this hello world is coming from the top here. Okay, so let me put a new line here so that it can drop down. So that is a new line, and see 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, according to what we asked it to print here. Let me see who left. Okay, that was Kemi. Okay, so it printed 0 1 2. Now you could see that it only printed 0, there's no space, it printed 1. Now let's do the formatting. If I now say put car, uh, comma, like this, it will what, print 0, comma, update I, and go back and do the condition check. See, comma has been established, but now look, comma is established even to the point of 9, because after it printed 9, which is when I is equals to 9 here, it was print 9 here at this point. And then it, of course, it is still inside the body of the loop, still executing the statement. It has not updated yet. It was still print what, comma, which was this guy here. And after that, before it will now update and check the condition. And when it checks the condition, it is false. That is when it comes out, and that is why nothing is being printed here aside the last 9 and the last comma. Now we've been able to achieve the comma.
Okay,
Let's now achieve this.
why do we have I plus 48, please?
Okay, okay. Why we have I plus 48 is because we are using Putchar. Okay, we are using Putchar, and also what we have here is a normal digit 0. When we use Putchar, if I just say Putchar I alone, it's what, it is going to look for the ASCII value of 0, and then it is whatever is the character there that it is going to print for me. Let me go to man ASCII. Stay with me, don't go yet. Still hold on like that. If I check for the value of 0 under decimal 0, the value of 0 here is a null character. in ASCII. Why am I coming to ASCII? Why am I coming here? Because I am using Putchar, and Putchar is for printing characters. Of course, it can print integers to numbers, but when it prints numbers, it only prints numbers based on the ASCII value, or based on the ASCII value of that number in the ASCII table. The ASCII table, it can you can use the ASCII table to print characters. This under this section, characters, different characters. As you go down, you see them different characters like this. You can see all these things. You can use the ASCII. You can print different characters, all of these characters, based on different formats you want to print them, which are you can tend to print them in octal mode, which is like this, with its own repetition, 000, or you can choose to print them in decimal mode, 0, single 0, or you can choose to print them in hexadecimal. This is at point 0. The number keeps increasing. So now let's look for 48. 48 decimal, okay, in ASCII table, the ASCII value is 0. 49 decimal, in ASCII table, the ASCII value is 1. So if I am printing numbers from 0 to 9, it starts from, and I'm using decimal, it starts from 48 to 57, 0 to 9. Now, I can choose to just use 48. I can choose to call I to be equals to 48, since 48 is 0, and then say that y I is less than or equal to 57, because from 48 to 57 is 0 to 9 in the ASCII table. From 48 to 57 is the value of 0 to 9 in the ASCII table. So I can choose to say, because I am using Putchar, let me work with ASCII values. So I can say I equals 48, and I can say as long as I is less than or equals to 57, then I can then do only to print I alone without what converting to to ASCII. If I do like this, it will print the same thing that is here for me. You can see it printed it. But because I am using the normal zero that we understand, the normal values of integers that we understand from 0 to 9, this is in decimal form. I will have to convert it to ASCII value. And for me to do that, I will have to do the number 0, or whatever number that we printed, and I will have to what? Use plus, and then convert it by adding 0 to it. This like this, or 48, because 48 means 0, or I do like this. I don't know if you get this. Basically, what I am doing here is that I'm converting these normal integers 0 to 9. I am converting them to ASCII, because let us test something out now. If I just print only I with the identity of I like this, and it is just like this 0 to 9 in this format, thinking that it will print them for me in this way, it will not, because I am using Putchar. If I do like this, let's see what it will be printed. Can you see what is printed? It is printing this what? It is printing this sign, these values, and these values is according to what? Let's start. This is 0. When it prints 0, 0 in the ASCII value, the first one, 0 is a null character, and that is why it printed what? That dot. Let's move on. 1. What is 1 in decimal? 1 is this value here. It says start of heading. That is the value in ASCII. When it goes to 2, it means start of text. So up to 9. Now 9 said horizontal tab. If you look at the last value here, you could see that it has a kind of more space than the others. That is the horizontal tab. So this is being interpreted because I am using Putchar. And even I use printf, of course, it will do what? normal 0 to 9. And in fact, when you use printf, you need to specify percent %d that you are printing what? Decimal, and that is just it. So I am using Putchar, and I, because of that, these are decimal. I have to convert them to ASCII value by, and the way to convert is by adding the ASCII character 0 in this way, or you can just use 48, representing it in integer form. Is that clear? Uh,
Yes,
is-
I think it's clear now, but what if we're initializing with 1 instead of 0? That's from 1 to 9.
okay, if I initialize from 1 to 9, and I do like I print I alone like this, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, it will now start checking, or the put car will go to the ASCII table, and it will start printing. It will check what is 1 in decimal, and then it is this thing start of heading. It will print it. What is 2? It
Okay,
will
so
print
but
it.
how would you do it now since we're using Putka?
As we are using putcar now, because we are using putcar, you have to convert it to ASCII. Okay, to do the conversion is what we do by putting plus and then this character 0 like this. This guy is the same thing as 48, because if you go down, follow me, if I go down under just this center, just watch this line. If I go down to 48, what is the value of 48? The ASCII value, character value is what? Is
0.
0, right? So that is what we have done. So I can choose to put 48 here, or I can choose to put 0. So like this is converting this decimal to ASCII.
I think essentially
Okay,
my
right.
my question.
You said?
Should I go on?
Yes, go
Yeah,
on, go on.
yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So my question was, I was thinking that since we initialized I as 0, that is why
Okay,
we use 48. That when we're initializing as 1, we're going to shift to the next, which is 49. So but what I
okay,
understand now is, so that was it clear?
okay. It is by adding 0 that you convert it. It is not probably because the value is 1, you have to add 1, or the value is 9, you have to add 9. No, 0, that character 0 will do the conversion.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
you're
I
welcome.
think Ramon wanted to ask a question too.
Yes, so let's see this guy. If I run it now, check. The value is starting from 1. So you could see it is not by probably 0 or 1 or anything. It will just convert it. So if I do 48 too, it will do the conversion and it will give me the same thing. So let's go. Ramutamu, you can go with your question.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just a quick one. Not really to stop you from doing this. You'll get to it hopefully as you use printf because you said you are going to use it. Uh, uh, does it mean if we use printf, then we specify character, it's going to print 0 up to 9, uh, not not 48 or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. I mean, like, uh, well, I'm actually getting lost now. But yes, I wanna know if we use printf, which
okay,
is able to see all sorts of type of characters and numbers, but then we
okay,
specify the character that we
okay,
want to print. Yeah. So you'll get to it when we you deal with printf. Please remember that. Now the next
okay,
one is just I just updated in the group. I put the ASCII table that was shared by somebody. I don't remember
okay,
who shared it. I found it to be very nice because it categorizes these things according to whether they are numbers or characters or capital letters and so on and so on. I think it will be
okay,
useful for us if we have it.
okay. Um, uh, I'm opening that. I've seen what you talked about. Okay, so your very first question is the printf. How does this behave to? Do we have to do conversion like adding the 48 and all that? We are going to see that. Okay, okay. Now we are what point we established here is that we are using decimal values from this point here, decimals, integer values. Okay, from zero, we want to print from 0 to 9. So, but we are using this, the function we are using for printing out is for printing characters. Of course, we can do um integers, we can print integers, okay, with um or we can do arithmetic or manipulation on characters, okay. But because we are using Putchar here and we are printing integers or decimal, we have to convert them to their equivalent value in the ASCII table. Look at this. Probably this could be a way to still make this easy. If we look at this guy, these are characters from A, lowercase a to Z, okay? And this guy is giving us the ASCII code in decimal, the decimal value for this character, starting from 97. That is telling me that if I come inside this guy, eh, and I start this guy from 97, it is going to start printing what is 97? A for me. If I go to numbers aspects from 0 to 9, that means from 48 to 57 is what the equivalent code, decimal code or integer code for characters that start from 0 to 9. That is why I can either say I start from 48 here, or if I say I start from 0 here, I must what? Make sure I convert it to characters. Yes, the character value in ASCII. So that is what we did here. Let me just proceed. It will be clear when we use printf. Now, if I continue and I say we have been able to establish a space, I mean a comma, initially when we what? We printed only the numbers, what? We only have all of this like this. But when we what add the comma, the control saw that there's something next to print, because all this thing, one thing you need to put in again is that even if it is a loop, don't think that it will just do everything voila. I mean, just allow me use that word. Don't think that it will just do everything immediately like that, like just print 1 2 3 4 5 7 8 9 at once like that on this line. No, it is a repetition and it is one at a time. Just like if you are to count, okay, listen, if you are to count oranges or take oranges, you want to count a particular numbers of oranges in from a particular sack into another sack. You pick them one by one at a time. That is how loop 2 operates. It is one at a time, one by one. That is how it works. That is why 0 will be printed first, and then it will what? Check what is next. If there is nothing, it will what? Update the counter and then continue. So one at a time. That is why 0 was printed, and the next thing that happened here that it is a comma. So 0 was printed and comma what needs to show. Let me turn this thing to 0 so that it will start at 0. So when 0 was printed, you could see the next thing that happened is a comma. If I increase this guy to 1, so the range will be from 0 and 1. If 0 was printed, comma was printed, then 1 was printed, and then comma was printed. So it is one at a time. Get that first. 2, it's what? It does it one at a time before it exits the loop. So we can still achieve space here in the sense that when it prints 0, it will print the comma, and then it will give us the space too, which we can achieve in this space, in this format, Putchar space. So it is what? Three things will be what? Three things will be printed one at a time. Three things will be what? Printed one at a time. So until what? The loop exits. If I run it, 0, comma, space, update counter, condition is true, one, print 1, comma, space, update counter, condition is true, print the next value, because we said update counter, so of course the value of I has changed. So it is that at that update, at that point that it's updated, that is where it will print the value of I. At that point that I was updated, that is what it will print at that point, before I will be updated again and the value will increase. So it will go like this. Excuse me. So it will go like this. I will be what? 0. It will print comma space. Sorry. I will be 0. Print comma space. Check condition again. Then check condition again. If true, sorry, no. I will be 0, and then what? Condition is true. It prints I at 0 at that point, and then the check condition again. Sorry, not condition. Update counter, and then check condition again. If true, update counter means I equals I plus 1, which is same as what? 0 plus 1. Okay, so I becomes what? 1. Then it what? Check the condition again. If it is true, then print I at that position, eh? And then update I again, which is I becomes 1 plus 1. That is I equals I plus 1, which is same as what? 1 plus 1, because at that point, at this point, I has become 1. So that is what is happening repeatedly until the condition becomes false. Now, we have printed this format here according to what we specified. Each line is printed one at a time. Now, not to go too much further, let's see, let's try to print with printf. We only did this now using what? Putchar. So I'm going to comment out this. Let us try to print with printf. So I can say printf. Now, printf accepts string. What are string? Strings are what? Combination of characters. So it is going back to characters again. Printf accepts strings. And what are strings? Strings are combinations of characters. Okay, so we are going back to characters again. So in that sense, even if we are to print different values, for the fact that we are using printf, which accepts strings, we must specify what we are printing. That is why we use what? %d, saying that you have to print this in what? Decimal form. That is as it is this way. When you do %d, we are now saying after %d, then if you put a character, comma, it will what? Print this guy as a normal character, because in the first place, this guy accepts strings of sequence of characters. So after the character, comma, it will accept another character. We are saying it should what? Have it this way as character what? Space again. Then after that, we are now telling it this %d, what do we want to print in this format that we stated here? That percent is saying that, hey, printf, for this first value here, it is not your regular character. Instead, Instead, I am going to pass in something like this, I, which is I, and I want you to print I in the format of a decimal for me. So printf is going to see that way. Okay, the first value is I, and the format for me to print it for you is in decimal form. Whatever you have put here, it's what it will be printed in the decimal form. So in that case, printf will understand that, and then it will now go next and see that, okay, this is a normal character, comma, I'm going to put that for you. And then it will see again, wow, there's a space here. Okay, I am going to print that for you also, and then it will execute. So if I now update I at this point here, printf will print this integer value from 0 to 9 and then add these characters to it. Something we are going to do another thing to make this clearer. So if I print like this, let me just put let me put dot dot so that you can differentiate. You won't think this is still Putchar. So if I put dot dot, let's use two dot as a specifier. Look at, could you see? So we have I, then the comma, and then dot dot. That is when I was 0, I was updated, I becomes 1. The condition was checked, and what, it was true. It entered into the loop, and then it printed I when I was 1, and when I is 1 at that point, and then it continued with the what, the comma, and then what, the dot dot, and then it moved on and what, updated I to be 2, and then it checked the condition was true, and then it printed what, 2. It entered the loop, print 2, uh, and then print the comma, and then dot dot up to what, 9. You could see that when it was 9, condition was true because 9 is equal to 9. Okay, it entered and printed 9, and then comma, and the dot dot. When it was now 10, when I was 10, become 10, 10 is not less than 9, and 10 is not equals to 9. The loop exited, and it what, it it finished the loop. This is using printf. We could have, you could have been like, for printf, you could have wanted to try something like, okay, printf, for me to use it, it is inside double quotes, and then you could have been like, just print I like this. Of course, this will not work because it will just print I for you. If I run this way, it will what? This is what it's going to print. I multiple times, as long as this condition is true. So when I is 0, I is 1, 2, I is 2, I is 3, I is 4, it's printing the character that is inside the printf. Or probably you want to say, you want to do like this, just print I at this point. This might throw an error. I don't know, because you need to specify a format for what you are printing with printf. You might want to be like, why not print this thing for me? Let's see. You can see this is what, segmentation fault. It is an error because for everything you print in with printf, you must specify the way it is going to be. So if I say %d, I am specifying that you print a character for me, comma, then printf is going to what, is going to look at this guy. The instruction is that whatever I pass in inside here, you have to print, or the first thing I pass in, because I can pass as many, I can build many %b. Okay, so it's saying that the first thing I pass in should be printed in the decimal format, and this guy is the first guy as the first thing. If I comma I again, of course, what we are going to be having is 1 space 1 space 1. I will be updated to 2. We'll be having 2 space 2 space 2. Look at it. Sorry, starting from 0. 0 space 0 space. Then it's moved. There was no what? There was no space at the last guy. If I put space at the last guy, look at it. You could see 0 space 0 space 0 space. Then I was updated. It become 1 space 1 space 1 space, like that until what? So I am doubling, I say I'm tripling I. but we don't want that. We only want this guy. So not even if you are using printf that can give you liberty to print anything you want to print, you must specify what you want to print. Is anybody clear with
For
this?
yeah, for the bootcamp, the printf that we used in the last example, assuming we do not want the commas to come after the nine, is there any way to terminate it?
We are going there, yes, of course. There's a way to terminate it. That is where the logic aspect comes in. That's what I'm saying. That as long as you understand, okay, I can print from 0 to 9 using a while loop or a for loop. Then there will now be, you now have to speak like a normal, let's speak in regular English, like a normal human, like, okay, I want you to print from 0 to 9. But when you get to 9, don't print comma. That looks like a easy way for we humans to communicate. But there are tools in the programming language where you will need to use together to form the logic. So now let us do something now. Should we stick with printf or putchar? Let's use putchar because that putchar is very tricky because it really helps. There are some logic they want us to build when using putchar, and I'm going to explain some things to us. Okay. So now we have this value like this. So this guy is an integer and it's being converted. Don't forget that is why we have the plus 48. Or better still, we can use this guy character 0. So I run this guy. We have this format this way. Now we should understand something that compiler compiles code. Again, I will emphasize this thing. There are fundamentals you need to just know it. We compile codes from top to bottom, left to right. Normally, basically, as human being, we can say print numbers from 0 to 9. Computer will print 0 to 9, and our bot will comes after we have spoken the statement. We can now say, okay, print number from 0 to 9, but when you get to 9, don't put comma. That means, you can say you are saying print number from 0 to 9, but this is at the end of what when the program has already executed, and your logic will not work that way. Instead, you can tell the compiler that, or the program, the logic will start from, I want to print numbers from 0 to 9. The number is going to start from 0, okay, from 0. Now, but your bot will have to come first before your execution. You can now tell it that if number that is at every position of I at that number, if it is not equal to 9, sorry, okay, let me just put it this way. If at that position of I, if it is not equal to 9, then I want you to add comma. So this, if I put it at the top here, it will not print anything. I don't want us to get mixed up. The bot needs to come first before your execution or whatever is going to be printed out. So firstly, we are starting this way, and let me come back again. Remember, compiler compiles from top to bottom, left to right. One. Two, your bot needs to come first before whatever you are printing or whatever format you want to specify. So we are saying that we want to have this format such that we are going to be printing the number and comma with space. But this thing should only be from 0 to 9, not after 9, like this. That is, when it gets to 9, it should what? It should stop. So I can now say, after you print the very first value, you should always print the first value for me. That should what? Be established. I can now say, after you print the first value, you can only add, I can put the condition in between here that you can only add comma and space. Okay, I'm coming again. I am telling it to print the first value, and I want you to add comma and space, but you can only add comma and space. So that is when I have to put a decision here. That is, you can only add comma and space if the number is not equals to 9. Let's see what this condition will do. That if the number is not equals to 9, keep adding comma and space. That is, it's going to run, and at the first point you see the first value of I is 0. 0 is not equal to 9. I am free to add comma and space. It moves on. I becomes 1. 1 is not equal to 9. I am free to add comma and space. Then it will what? Do that. It moves on. I becomes 2. 2 is not equals to 9. I am free to do the comma and space. It moves on. 3 is not equals to 9. 4 is not equals to 9. 5 is not equals to 9 to add the comma and space. 6 is not equals to 9 to add the comma and space. 7 is not equals to 9 to add the comma and space. 8 is not equals to 9, it will add the comma and space. But when it gets to 9, 9 is equals to 9, of course it will stop.
Okay, Mike, you have the hand from Jits, fellow Jits.
Okay, come in.
Okay, thank you very much, Osamo. Thank you, Mike. I'm just seeing here that I know that after the if statement, once the condition is given, the next function is supposed to begin with a curly bracket. So are we going to have another curly bracket inside the while curly brackets since we have an if statement here?
Please come again, I didn't get that.
So we have an if statement here, exactly. And that's what you just did now.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, we have if statement. We can, as we have the if statement, this is nothing but the if block. That is everything that is going to be executed only if this condition here is true. Only if the condition inside here is true. So this thing, these values here, as long as they are put inside this block, they will be what? They will be executed. So this is like creating a special space even inside the whole while loop. For what? For something to be done. Aside the fact that whatever condition that is happening outside can still what? Outside the if can still be executed. So think of it like you are going to a party or an event. You can you everybody everybody can go to the event. Okay, look at it now. Everybody is invited. Everybody can have access to the event. You can, as long as you are registered, okay, you can come in, you can come to the event. Now there could be a condition, even inside a condition, let me put it that way, okay, such that even if you showed interest that you want to attend that party, you can only get access into the hall only if you have your ticket. So the party is a general what? Is a public public notification information to everybody, and there are procedures you registered. Everybody, even the link is for everybody. But you can only have access into the hall if you have your ticket. That is something that is happening here. Another thing is like, okay, let's say that the party is free for everybody. Even if you have ticket, you don't have ticket, you can enter into the hall. One, but there are special spaces, or there are special seats reserved for some kinds of people, VIPs. And it is only those people who have the ticket, the VIP ticket, that can sit down in those seats. Just picture all that is happening in this way, in the sense that we have the option of printing 0 from 0 to 9. Okay, but we want to print 0 to 9 and have every of the values to have comma and space. Now there is a criteria for any of the numbers to be qualified to have comma and space, and this criteria is based on the fact that any number that can have comma and space is the number that is not 9. If that number is 9, it cannot have comma and space. So you are trying to tell the while loop, or you are trying to tell the compiler that check the condition. If the condition is true, print the number. And yes, we want to have comma and space, but you can only have comma and space only if that number at that position that I will always be is not 9. If I is 9, you cannot add comma to it. That is what this thing is explaining. So what we are now trying to do is that we are trying to create a coup or a decision inside a decision. So we are making a decision here, and whatever is inside this block is what will be executed based on this condition, regardless of even the outside block, regardless of the surrounding. Anything can happen in surrounding. And now look at, now if this statement is what true, it will enter this place and what execute what is there. Now if this statement is false, it will not touch this guy at all. Instead, it will just jump and come to this line, and then come to this line and update and execute what is there. If I have something like print f, decision has been made, and I'll say new line. If I run this guy, oh sorry, I need to close this. I need to terminate the printf. Don't get lost, don't get confused. That's the error that is happening there. So if I run this guy, look at 0 was printed, right? And what comma was added, and the printf has said decision has been made. This one happened. Update was done here, and then what this what I was printed, this line went. 1 is not equals to 9. Of course, I have access to what comma and space. Decision has been made. The same thing happened, and what decision was made here too, because 9 is what I is equal to 9. Therefore, this guy will exit, and what decision will be made here. And that is what happened here. Decision has been made here, comma and space was not added. So regardless of the outside, the if statement will what only execute based on the given condition, and that is it. I hope this is clear.
Okay, Mike. I don't know. Based on my interpretation on what he was asking, anyway, he will clarify there. Uh, but by the time he was asking, you had not put the brackets there inside the if statement. So I think I just want to add that if we have one statement after the if statement, we may
Okay,
decide not to put the brackets or not. But
perfect.
otherwise, we put the brackets.
Yes. Now, when
Yeah.
good, when you are having multiple statements or multiple things to execute, you have to put them inside curly brackets, curly braces. Is a brace, not a bracket. Okay. When you have multiple decisions to be made, did you get it? Did you get it?
So
Yeah.
what if it's only one put card that we want to execute then?
If it is just only one put card, you are allowed based on the C rule. Let me disable this guy. If it is just one statement, then you are allowed, but it must be indented. It must be like this. It cannot be like this. Like this, you are not doing anything. Like this, you are not making any decision. It must be like this. Let's check the two. So if I come this way, nothing will be executed regardless uh of course this might execute. Okay, our target should be 9 now, because this guy will be executed and this guy will be checked, but there's no decision to make because it is not indented properly. So what is going to happen is that it will just come to this guy and apply it. And what we want to do is that it should apply comma when it is not 9, but it will even apply to 9 in this way, because we did not indent it properly. So if you do it this way, 9 will be affected. Let me take out the decision has been made. So was 9 affected? Okay, it actually executed it properly, but this is not the practice. Probably this compiler just helped us to. If you put it in another compiler or probably in C, Betty will tell you that you are actually outside of the if statement. You are not so if you are using a single statement, it has to be indented. But when it is now multiple statements, you have to put them in in braces to show that execute all of these statements, and that is the right practice. I don't know if I have been able to answer that question.
Okay, yeah, I think here this compiler really does some things for us, so we have to be very careful because even if you don't include the headers, this compiler will still allow you to do things.
Thank you for that. I think you have tried with this compiler, so you have to be
Yeah.
very very careful with what you are
Mm.
doing. So if you are
Anyway,
using this
otherwise, Mike, I don't know. I think we have spent an hour on this one, and we
exactly,
still have to do the things you said, the pointers. So
yeah.
I think maybe we try to wrap up and move on to the other task. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at that because we've used time, and I'm even trying to. I don't want to stress myself too much, although I'm still just getting strong. So, but as I looking at this, I think I've been able to establish some points here, especially for those of us who are having some curiosities. So another thing to get hold of this is that you should try to practice as many things that is coming to your head and try to see how to get it. Okay, probably you could even send me a DM, or if that possible, or you could reach out to any of the peers. You can ask ourselves. Let's see this as a community. Don't see it like just have to be on your own, or you just have to probably look up to me alone. No, no, no. You can always reach out to any other person. We are here to attend to each other. So if you have questions like ifs, how can I, that is the way to actually succeed, and that is the way to really understand, to be honest. I will say it over and over again. So you can see that we are able to add the commas and the spaces only to values that are not nine. So that is it. And what we are able to establish here is that we are not relating it like the normal English, where I am saying that print from 0 to 9, but not um print from 0 to 9, add commas to them, but not 9. Or I want to print number from 0 to 9, but I don't want to add the commas and spaces to 9. Your but needs to come first before your decision. You need to be able to understand, because the computer will run from top to bottom. So you need to tell it that when it is not this value, or when it is getting to this point, make sure you do something like this. Okay, I think that is the best way explanation. When it is getting to this point, do these things. So if I can say, look at this point, I can change it to 9, and I can say when the value is not 5, you should only add comma and space. And what is going to happen is that comma and space will not be added to 5. Look at it. Could you see? So this is the logic aspect of it, and it's just you understanding the decision tools, and the if statement, the else statement, and all of the other things. They are all necessary. Probably we'll still have time to brainstorm on some possibilities, because there are a lot of things that really open doors to many understanding. But let's just quickly go to what we have for today, because we have used like 1 hour. But I believe everyone is cleared from the use of Putchar and converting values to ASCII, or ASCII characters, down to this decision that we took here, I believe at least it is a bit clear. One thing we need to understand, the aspect of practice cannot be what taken away. You need to still practice some things, and then, in fact, with pen and paper makes things stick easily and faster, even than you writing the code yourself. That is why they emphasize that try to write on pen and paper, try to draft out your expected output, what you really want, and then what work on it. Okay, somebody's raising up the hand. Yes, come in.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say we should try and see these they asked us to do these questions that involved printing from 0 to 14 or something, and they asked us to print it 10 times. I would
Yeah.
also want to suggest that how about we just try and finish this today, and then we take the pointers thing tomorrow. Say we like just focus on pointers tomorrow, do this for today, so that I don't think we have much time if we say we want to start the pointers now.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, that might be a good one. Excuse me. Okay, I think that might be strategic in the sense that honestly speaking, I can pinpoint that there's some confusion with the use of this Putchar with some of us. And of course, even I myself, I had to look closely on some of these factors, on some of these things to really get what is happening. Especially when we get to this point here, let me show you one aspect that becomes problematic. You see this one now. This one is even still okay. Okay, this is combination of two digits. This one is problematic. This digit becomes problem at some point because there are some trick about Putka that you need to apply here. Now, this one was now like the beast of them all. This two digits, like printing two digits of numbers, where you have 0001 comma 0002 comma 0003 comma up to what 98 and 99.
Okay, no, Mike, I think I also support now, even you now showing us this. I support what Sheriff is saying. We can look at pointers tomorrow. Let us try to go into maybe the logic of those
Yes.
challenging ones you have there, and so that yeah, I think it's strategic, really.
So what I'm going to do is for the material on the pointer, just what I have written out, I'm going to send it to us tonight, like some the way I just crafted some core points and I want it to sink in our head. I'll just send it to us. If I send it, we can just go through it and then be aware of something that you are going to meet and what we are going to explain. Then by once you are familiar with it, because one of the things to make learning faster is just see it. Don't let it be new to you at all. Be if you have heard it, if you have seen it, just know. So that will fast track your learning. Okay, that's a tip. So when I send it, we'll look at it. Then by tomorrow, we'll now deal with the concept of pointers. I think that will now make more sense and easy access to understanding all of these concepts. Okay, so we are going to treat this all this stuff. We are going to treat them. We see the logic how to print these things. Okay, so but guys, you have to permit me. There will be 5 minutes break now. I need to take my drug and I need to just I don't know, does this make sense? I don't need I just need to take my drugs. 5 minutes break, please. Okay. Can we just be a 5 minutes break?
No,
I need
that's
res-
fine.
I need response,
Okay,
please.
no doubt, no
No,
doubt,
no
no problem.
wahala.
Okay. Thank you.
Jude just came and maybe she's surprised we are taking the break now.
No, it was the one here before.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I understand, bro. What's up, bro?
Now good.